Fuck Volo in his booty hole. It is your main man who today will be your guide to the Forgotten Realms. And we're going to be talking about Forgotten Realms adventure. We're going to be talking about the gods of Forgotten Realms, the evil gods of Forgotten Realms, and just how playable their followers really are. Come with your main man, and I will go through this book, take a tour, and a stroll a while, and just ramble for just a little while, baby, with your main man through the Forgotten Realms. And we'll talk about every single evil god and just exactly how playable I think their followers are. Now let's start at the very beginning with Orel. Orel is a neutral evil goddess, a demiplane of pandemonium with the portfolio of cold. That's all it says here, cold, right? Orel, I think, is perfectly playable. Certainly, it's going to be limited, right? Are we going to be in the shining south of the clear of Orel, like, melting, you know, fucking Frosty the Snowman over here. Oh, yeah, I'm melting over here. So, for that reason, I think Orel might not be that playable, and I think the idea of that in a more of a kind of a maybe something slightly colder than temperate climate, I think is all right. And up there, the blistering cold. I mean, it could be a very good thing. You know, you could even play a good aligned cleric of Orel, like, Orel, please spare us. Spare us the power of cold itself. Spare us from the ice and the cold and from the justice we deserve from your breath. So that's the other thing. Let's kind of look at which one of these could have good. So you all day long could have a chaotic good or lawful good cleric of Orel, and I see absolutely no reason that one of the big problems of alignment, they often restrict, right? We want to enhance our creative and not restrict it. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Like, I'm not going to go over what a fool would tell you, what a gibbering imbecile. This is your main man. This is the voice of creativity of a nation. Today, you understand, baby? We're talking RPG genius, and we're going to be explaining these tactics to you to bring it in. And once you start putting those in, when you start looking at the heterodoxy and the heterodox, the heterodoxy and the heresies of a different religious faith and how that may move a man deep in the soul and shiver the bones, shiver them timbers, if you will, baby. I think Orel is conditionally, depending on the topography you're going to be playing in, an interesting choice, a possibility, right? And certainly you're going to need to have reasons why you get a priest of Orel further out there, right? We got the uncouth Azuth, but I always thought Azuth was a weird god. Like, if you're a wizard, why don't you just worship Mishra? Like, it seems really unneeded, and there's a lot of gods that are badly needed. Like, you know, where's your god of dreams? Why isn't this one of your main gods? You know, but we have a god of wizards and a god of magic. I mean, come on, it's a little bit much. But anyway, Bashaba, again, very playable. I use a cleric. No, I use two. I have two clerics of Bashaba in the town. It's about 4 days out of Baldur's Gate on the Sword Coast, one of the places that I run. This place I created in the Fields of the Dead called Bone Rust, right on the south of the Winding Waters. And it's about 3.5 days between the Southern Woods and the Trollbark, the mountain range right before the Trollbark Forest. So I can bring in all that stuff. And maybe I'll do a video about Bone Rush. You guys would love to add this to your Forgotten Realms game. I can assure you, with the amount of development that's in there, it would probably be a far more entertaining, interesting run for you guys than running a box standard Waterdeep, Neverwinters, or Baldur's Gate, or Cormier, or whatever. Whatever the kids are doing these days, you understand? That's all. So, Bashaba, we have two of them there. They have a certain area put aside that religious tolerance is extreme, and no crimes can be brought against any clergies there in any of the temples. So there's two followers of Bashaba, and they have all these materials that are like clearly stolen, and they are trying to build a temple. They've been doing this for a long period of time, and they're like outside. So I'm just like very bog standard follower Bashaba, hot goth chick number one, right? I have her written up. I could get her information, but it's irrelevant. And I use for the priest, the high priest is Ricky from Trailer Park Boys, and he is, I think it's called Tyrann is his name, and he uses this, like, his gimmick, right, is he is bad luck. He is extreme bad luck. So, and he's really like lowbrow predatory. Like he tries to get like the players. He'll fuck with the players and like demand that they come and do work at his temple and build his temple because he's lazy as the character's lazy as shit and like just completely cursed. But if you fuck with him, you start getting cursed. And they like start seeing like they're tripping and falling, and he's trying to fight him or do whatever, and he falls on his ass and fucking takes a tumble, and he starts screaming at his goddess, like, you know, yelling at her like, "You fucking bitch! Why do you always? I do everything for you. I do everything for you, and you curse me. You curse me." And then, you know, the girls are like, "Yeah, we really have bad luck." And they're outside, like you see him like the camera, he's over there sneezing on the ground as he's laying outside, getting rained on, and they have like, you know, all these various things that are clearly like ripped up posts from fucking farms or pieces that have stolen, and he can't tell like the hobbits apart. So there are two different hobbit players, and he thinks they're the same character, and he's like, "Hey, come on, let's go, Eldon. Come on, you got to get over here. We got a contract where you've agreed to build this." He's like, "What are you talking about?" And they're across, from one of the other temples, and they'll harass them as they come out. But here's the deal: people are afraid of them because God help you if you get that bad luck stuck on you. And I think that again, like a role, you could definitely play that very good aligned cleric of bad luck, like. Please, please, please don't let us have bad luck. You know, I'm good. I'm praying for this. Or you can play that evil one. That's this really entropy-based character that they have no bad luck. So they're doing almost the same thing as like a follower Tamori. You know, they're winning at gambling. They're doing this and that because bad luck just stays away from them. Or you can go a more comical route and have them just constantly like slathered in bad luck and maybe make some rule change. Like, okay, well, this happens and I take penalties, but now they hit me. Oh, now they have penalties. Like, so now, you know, it starts becoming a thing where other characters are afraid to even hit them because they're like, "God, dude, I don't want a -4 penalty for a week or a month, or I just like that. I'm cursed and I have to go get a remove curse spell or whatever put upon me." So you could definitely do a lot of interesting things with Bashaba. I think Bashaba clerics are probably best in the NPC category. I think with an extremely good player, an extremely good take, they could be playable. They are chaotic evil. She is the Maid of Misfortune, a lesser power of the Abyss, the portfolio of mischief, bad luck, and accidents. So again, you know, that's kind of what we're talking about here. Sirak. Now Sirak is next. The Broken Skull. Oh, hell yeah! Stone Cold Steve Sirak. So Sirak the Dark Sun, a greater power of Hades, neutral evil, portfolios of death, murder, the dead, strife, tyranny, and lies. I don't know in a later edition if Sirak might be chaotic evil, because Sirak, from the way that I play Sirak, the way that I understand or interpret Sirak in the thing, Sirak is mad. Sirak reads from the Shenashad over Zenel Keep. Sirak's fucked in the head, and I see Sirak, again, someone will probably say, "Oh yeah, he's chaotic evil in the 3rd edition or whatever." But this is the book I have in front of me right now. Sirak seems to me to be straight up like chaotic evil god. Now, Sirak has changed really in most over editions. Like, oh, the 5th edition, he's the god of booty hole picking, you know. But in this edition, we're just going to talk about what we have right in front of us right now. The portfolio is death, murder, the dead, strife, tyranny, and lies. And at some point, I believe also illusions, because I believe he stole Lyra's portfolio as well. But if we look at death, murder, the dead, you know, this is Bane, Bull, and Merkel. He sucked up all their portfolios. You know, the battle at the Borsky Bridge. With a ball, slaying ball with mask inside of the sword, which is a pretty cool deal. I run a game right on the Winding Waters, right? So I think it's 2 or 3 days. I have the Front Realms Atlas map thing, which actually will tell you exactly how long, by Griffin back, by Dragon back, by normal pace walking, with fast horses, whatever, wagons, you know, it gives you a breakdown, which is very nice. It's free too. It's a free site you can go to. So check that out. Forgotten Realms Atlas. You run the Forgotten Realms in the AD&D timeline, or probably in the 3.5 timeline, maybe even later. I'm not sure what edition that's designed for, but it certainly suited my purposes for both of those. I can't speak to more inferior editions of the game. So I find Sirak, the requirements here are bizarre to me. A 13 wisdom and a 13 intelligence seems like almost like, is that the max you can have as a 13 wisdom? Because Sirak is a terrible god, right? I have a great grasp on role-playing Sirak. I've never read any of the horrible Forgotten Realms books that Sirak was in, because I knew I wouldn't, you know, I mean, I would probably just throw them all in the fireplace, and then this book as well. You know, I would be, I'm sure, very, very disappointed with those. And That's kept me away from. So I'm just taking here, extrapolating, and you have a grasp from running and playing for arms for years. I know what I want to do with the gods there that I want to run. There's a few I don't have much of a grasp on because I don't ever use them. That doesn't mean I want in the future. It doesn't mean I won't create a great character for it. But I have a great character for Sirak. Sirak talks like, like put his arm around you, be talking, and I'll fuck with you. Like Sirak will be appearing in visits and images and so forth, and talking and whispering, and maybe like you'll see a random person in a fucking event or at the shopping areas, of the bazaars and such, and he's just kind of talking to you, and you turn and look, and there's no one's there, and over a course of maybe a couple months, is Sirak starting to suss you out because as people start getting power, they become more noticeable, and Sirak, of all the gods in the realm, is the one in my mind is the most likely to appear to players, any sort of character of good levels, because he's trying to recruit, he's trying to grab, he's trying to come up, and he's a deceiver. And sowing that deceit, Sirak absolutely loves it. He loves that strife, and he loves pitting people against each other. So he can be a great villain to the party. Like, oh yes, we're going to get all of these things. You're going to give it, and particularly when they have that hole in the soul, they have that spite, they have that anger in him. He just starts feeding it. And then eventually, he just kind of shows up and he's got his arm around him. And then you slowly kind of unfold it. Oh my God, Sirak is standing there, he's got his arm around you. And any smart player is going to be like, oh fuck. And it's like so it becomes a great scene because I'll grab you character, like, as we get up and physically move around and do things. And I'm like, yes. And then at one point, it dawned on what actually had happened because he was like a hunter of Sirak and his sister's a follower of Sirak. Eventually he kills her and he gets all this spite and just all this soliloquy and out all this anger and rage and all this Siracism from him into fucking country of into city of Athkatla itself, and he's fucking slaughtering this bitch. And he's like, and he's doing some really foul things, and I think he ended up getting her kid and he killed the kid because he used a magic spell in it to shut it up. And I'm like, dude, you kill a baby by shaking it. And he uses a spell that only stuns, but I'm like, dude, this is like a 4-month-old. He kills a baby, and it's just fucking, it's disgusting. But it was this great scene where Sirak just puts his arm around him, and then it dawns on me, oh my God, that's Sirak. And I wanted Sirak, I hated Sirak, and now Sirak is favoring me, and the player's like, no, and he's like, so we're slowly fading to black, and Sirak's like, yes, and he's like, no, he's like, yes, no, yes, and fades right to black. So it was a phenomenal scene. I'm not going to give you the 4 hours of build-up I need to really land that home, but Sirak to me is the heaviest rubber stamp NPC. Sirak is the fucking bad guy. Sirak is the thing that's a great rallying cry, right? You can be like, I'm a priest of Merkel, I'm a priest of Baal, I'm a priest of Mask, I'm a priest of Bane, and we all fucking hate Sirak. So now all of a sudden, hey, the priest of Bane, the priest of Tyr are like, yeah, but Sirak, and they're like, fucking good call, all right then. I guess we need to go kill them and not fucking worry about each other right now. So that's a really good thing. I think Sirak, from a divine standpoint, really should be the ultimate apex sort of bad guy. Whether it's in the foreground or background, I think Sirak can be slid into any Forgotten Realms game, and I think it makes it more authentically Forgotten Realms to include Sirak to a degree. Sirak's a 100% rubber stamp NPC thing. Like, the player should be resisting. You shouldn't have. I couldn't give it to Frank and be like, oh, and the Sirak is trying to get you. You want him? Okay. Well, that was fun. You got to be against that, right, to the core. You're like, no. And at that point, you're not a protagonist anymore. You're an antagonist, and your character can never be the antagonist because then you're just a fucking monster, And that's the thing they used to say. Oh, well, take the character away from the players. It's an antagonist, right? It was a vampire, werewolf, or whatever. In that situation, I've always let the player play the character, but I think as a Siracist, you become so treacherous that it's certainly not something to play with, and it can create a very bad environment in a game because if the players are all sitting around, and I'm extending you trust as a player to work you in so that you can enjoy yourself, so that you can have fun, right? And if you are then just, as soon as they go to sleep, I kill all of them. Well, now I have to reevaluate the level of out-of-character trust that I'm going to give you, or just play everything right to the bone. And when you play everything right to the bone, it can be good at times. It can also be really bad, and it can cause astronomical amounts of problems. So you want to have some degree of consideration for other players and those sort of deals. I always like to wonder, is Lyra still alive? Is the Lady of Illusions dead, or was that merely her best trick? Oh, Malr. Malr right here. Well, Avatar as well. But Malr is a chaotic evil god of Tartarus. He's portfolio with hunters, beast, blood. He is the god of, I think, all lycanthropes except for maybe werebears. Maybe there's another one. So my son loves him because he is, of course, the god of were creatures, and my son is mental for were creatures. So I think Malr is really interesting, right? They even acknowledge this in one of the books, talking about there's a lodge, it's either inside or just outside of Zindel Keep. Hunting was a sport back in the day, and even now, in a lot of times, for rich weirdos. And you've all heard of the hunting lodge for rich weirdos, right? That is fucking Malr, and Malr caters to those sort of people. They'll bring monsters. We did that, I think, maybe the 4th or 5th game session in this campaign that I'm running right now, the Silver Sun campaign, and I showed that. They brought monsters out, and I used to like Shane from The Walking Dead is one of the priests, and he's like this hard ass motherfucker. And then he's got the wrestler Damien Dementia with him as like the lower tier priest, and they're catering towards the ritual. They like them. They're bringing their attention. They're getting gold from them. This is how they're funding the church. This is why they're making the church. It can be a highbrow church, but they could also be the this fucking crazy backwoods cult of lycanthropes and werewolves and ritual sacrifice and fucking playing the most dangerous game with people. So there's a lot you can do with Priest of Malr. I think Priest of Malr are quasi-playable. They're chaotic evil, and it's generally a bad alignment to let all but the absolute best players play, not even fuck your game up. Most players, I would give myself a caution to say no, but I do think that there is some real meat on the bone for Follower Malr, particularly in a higher stakes game, because these people can most certainly rub shoulders in the highest of sides, rub shoulders with kings, some things like that. They can also be down there in the bayou itself, you understand. Lovatar, the Maiden of Pain, she's lawful evil, demi-power of Gehenna, pain, hurt, torture. So Lovatar is a game, I have my son playing, and he's 15, and, often there's somebody's girlfriend or whatever playing in the game, and I don't like to go, like, I don't know how to be. It gets creepy when you start, like, putting too much sexual stuff in there. I try to put a veneer of it and then keep going. Like, I don't really like to get into that stuff too much, particularly with my kid at the table. So Lovatar is generally just a complete miss in the campaign. Like, I don't really include Lovatar at all. Like, there's just no access to Lovatar. I mean, if your game has a really high sexual content, if you're doing RPing for that reason, if you have a group that of people who are, say, attracted to each other, let's say for all you kids out there, they are potentially something that you could include. I would personally say that they aren't something that I would really include either way, and they're not a type that I am. They're not something that I would particularly put into a game myself. So that being said, I mean, depending on the type of group you have, maturity, the sort of things that they like, maybe you could go with that. After that, we have Mask, who is neutral evil, power of Hades, the portfolio of thieves and intrigue. As you can see, Mask right there. Mask, of course, again, has a big issue with Sirak. And so that's definitely something that you're going to be able to play into. When you have evil versus evil, the lesser evil can certainly be very, very much sort of painted almost into the babyface role, the protagonist role, particularly when they have something that is that they've done wrong, or that a way that they have been wronged, I should say, to allow them to really come through and have an interesting story, or perhaps redemption, which itself can make for an interesting play. They're also gods of thieves, so thievery. I mean, so Lovatar is really rapey, right? And Malr is like probably gonna like eat people and shit like that, right? So there's some pretty horrible things on their end of evil, whereas their end of evil is like stealing shit. So the type of evil that they're doing isn't that bad. These are more like Spider-Man level villains. They're not unplayable at all. I think a Priest of Mask is probably perfectly fine in your group. And Mask can certainly, probably not really veering towards good, but certainly can veer towards that neutral element as well. You can see that in Thieves' Gangs and these sort of things. Here's a nice picture of a bunch of the evil gods in this book. This is a must-have if you're running any Forgotten Realms game, even if you're not even doing AD&D. I would strongly recommend it. Oh, Shar. Shar is really the only real ally of Sirak. Sirak trying to access the Shadow Web or Shadow Weave and all this sort of thing. Shar, greater portfolio of Hades, neutral evil, portfolio of darkness, night, and loss. She's an ancient primordial goddess and extremely evil, and I think really, really strongly in the NPC camp. I think Shar is really cool. I like Shar. I like to use Shar, but very, very, very sparingly in games. But I don't think Shar is really appropriate for a player. Almost any player, maybe very, very, very rarely you could work it in, but not really. Talona, Lady of Pain, demi-player of Tartarus, chaotic evil. Portfolio is disease and poison. So you can see her symbol there. She is a goddess that I would say, again, chaotic evil is almost always harder to work in than neutral or lawful evil. Talona is a goddess I would say is very close to the NPC stamp. Not quite as far as Sirak. She is, I believe, under the gods of destruction with Talos as the head. So I would say that Talona, disease and poison, these are really the domains of a villain. This is really hard to, again, your players need to be the protagonist, not the antagonist, right? So you're going to have a real hard, oh yeah, but I spray diseases and poison people. Oh, that's murder you. You definitely needed to get the rope. This motherfucker's going on the tree. What? No. Get the nails too. We're crucifying this motherfucker. You go in, we're going to burn you too, motherfucker. Shit, get the fuck out of Talona. So I think it would be a very hard one to push. I don't think I would let someone play a follower of Talona. I think it's very close, like a 9.5 on the 10. Like I would say Sirak's a 10 on the scale of just get out of here with that. But Talona is very close. The next one, the Destroyer, the Thunderstruck Talos. That's right, Talos himself, perhaps the most playable of all the Forgotten Realms gods. What is Talos? What is Talos' portfolio? Beating that ass and seeing that ass stays beat. Right here, Ed Greenwood wrote that. He's saying the ass stays beat and is down there in the street with some skeet, and you're never going to get up. Talos is the god of heavy metal and beating your ass and making sure you stay humble. Talos, in my mind, just throw all this nonsense away. It's like somebody took like the heavy metal guy that like a nerd is afraid of in an 80s fucking coming of age movie, and they try to make that Talos, whereas they just completely, the writing for Talos has completely missed the mark. The character potential of Talos is Talos is amazing. Talos is maybe he's very close. He's not my favorite god in Forgotten Realms, but very close. He's very close. I played a follower of Talos. Talos is not only playable, but extremely playable. I would put Talos as more playable than many of the good or neutral gods. Follower of Talos should not be a problem at all. Portfolio is storms and destruction. Really think of Talos as this ultimate sort of heavy metal messiah, this savior, this beater of ass. What Talos says is you're not strong, get stronger. Get good, son, and whoop that ass. Just get swole on. You know what I'm saying? Get out there and just get your fucking gains, bro, and just keep getting gains. And just grab them and destroy them and just throw your weapons at them and then beat them with your hands. Beat them with headbutts. Take your plate mail off and beat them with the plate mail. You got to get your pay window any way you can, and you got to stand high, screaming AC/DC. That's the way you bring it down. Thunderstruck, baby. And Talos is very fun to play. Very much a professional wrestling god. Very much 80s heavy metal, bigger and louder and better and bigger and strong. Talos is very much the biggest dude in the gym. Talos is very much bar brawls. Talos is great for the barbarian character. He's great for the priest that wants to beat that ass. He's great for throwing electricity. And the follower of Talos, this is why he can be a good character. There's no reason the follower of Talos should ever lie to you. And not because we're like, well, we don't lie because it's serious. They're like, I'm going to tell you just what I'm going to do right now, brother, and we're going to be down there in the Metrodome Saturday night at 7:45. That's me and you, Hulk Hogan, and we're coming for you. So you really want to really push that hood. It's masculinity, it's ruggedness, it's fucking electric guitar screaming of heavy metal. And that's really, you could push that across and in fact make it the potent action hero of all time. Mostly everything that I've written, just take a whiteout and erase that and write from the book of your main man into those texts. And see, just white out all this. This is not needed. You don't need any of it. You don't even read it. I mean, there's one passage, I think it's in 3rd edition book, behind me here. Talos thinks Sunni is frivolous. This fucked me up when I read it. I was like, dude, this is the hottest chick and the baddest dude. Talos just on those cheeks. That's what Talos does. He plays a rumpa bum bum on that bum. You think, no, that's not right at all. What's wrong with you? Talos is also often thought of as Grumsh. They both have the one eye. But you could also say Talos is Thor with a straight streak of heavy metal and lightning from the sky. So that's a possibility too, right? I did a deal where, because you got Tyr and more Norse gods, they start coming over, the interloper gods. You got Odin, you got Loki, you got Thor. And then I'm doing this deal, is it Thor? Is it Talos? Who is it? Who's behind the helmet? What's going on? And we've done the same deal with Helm. So, and I really run a deal with Talos and Talos and Torm. I'll get him eventually. Tempest, goddamn. Talos and Tempest, I don't know how hard that was for me. The TNT connection exploding on you. There's a mention somewhere that these are like, they came up at the same time as these forces, chaos and battle was waging. To me, they're brothers, and that's the way I play them. They're like these two badass brothers. These are the two badasses, and they're like, yes, for chaos, for victory, for extreme, for fucking Man of War songs. That's what they're about. They're about fucking the fucking Man of War music, son. They don't give a fuck about what you thought. They're about playing Hammerfall. They're about power metal. They're about screaming guitars. They're about beating that ass and making sure that ass stays beat. And, I mean, that can really, look at a picture of like a Stan Hansen and Bruce Brody together with the blood and the chains and the cowbells and the rope and then start beating that ass. You see, I mean, what are followers of Tyr? What are followers of Malr? What are followers of Torm? What are they going to do? They're going to get their asses whooped. They're going to get made humble. They're going to get hit with the fucking double clothesline. They're going down, the neck's broken, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3 the easy way, the pay window. It doesn't matter what they thought was going to happen. What's happening is they're being destroyed by the powers of fucking heavy metal and darkness of primordial chaos itself, and they don't give a fuck. So I would say that Talos very, very playable, very fun, very power. Bring it up, bring the power. Just do insane things. Just you want to destroy, you want to bring the pain. I played a character in my friend's game, a follower of Talos, and he slowly sort of changed into like a good aligned person. Right? He's out there, he's serving his tribe from the far edge of the north of the world. Worship Talos. They were badasses, and he was the badass. You understand? He was going to beat that ass, and the followers of Talos. That came to him, and they start coming to him, right? He's an unearthed barbarian, but he starts becoming basically the chosen of Talos in the game. But my character starts slowly sipping towards chaotic good. And he's doing things like he's taking his money, he could take his treasure, and my character could barely read or write or count, and he would just take whatever I get. And then he built an orphan. He actually built an orphanage. Oh my god, I destroyed the paladin. The paladin guy, he was fucking up so much. He was not a good player at all. But I'm building an orphanage. And we're like the town, basically the town was in charge of it. And slowly just everyone in the town had just converted basically to follow Talos. And there was like an evil religion in Cormyr. And people, like it's, all the kids are coming up Talos because they all fucking love Godai. Because Godai comes a fucking, the Thunderstruck himself comes into the town and he gives the children fucking money. He's buying everybody fucking beer. He buys a fucking distillery, and he gets the fucking grains and the hops and the barley. He's getting the wine, he's getting the beer, he's getting it all. You understand? And he's building the town up. And what he says, he's getting the people basically stronger mentally, physically, and making them all the more than they could ever have been before. So, I mean, there's so much you can do with Talos. Talos is basically a god. His portfolio should be your fucking character, right? Is your character a badass? Hell yeah, he is. Is your character whooping that ass? You damn right better be. So Talos is the choice for you. You are beating that ass and keeping that ass beat. The other thing I went with my character, like he wouldn't even kill people. Like most D&D characters, to kill everything. You're dead. You're dead. My character he would just beat you up with a fisticuffs, pick you up in the backbreaker. He might fucking suplex you, and it left the characters to come back that had their ass whooped. My character wasn't worried about you coming back. What you going to do, get your ass whooped again? He wasn't worried about that. He was going to beat your ass, and your ass would stay beat. You see what I'm saying? He would make you humble. He didn't need to destroy you, he didn't need to kill you, which I think is a very, very good thing, and something that so many players just piss me off. It's like, oh, we have to kill everything so they can never come back for us. Like, dude, in what book, in what movie, in what franchise, in what comic have you ever seen that? Let the monsters, let the bad guys come back and get some vengeance on you, and then we build it up. Don't make the game master start over all over. You know, get the heat bubbling. So, yeah, I mean, Talos is, I mean, my God, that's the thunderstruck. But yeah, I've definitely done some changes. There are other videos on my channel about Talos. Research those for more tactics of Talos. Tempest right beside him, all the more reason that was an extreme fail there. Umberly, the bitch queen, which is kind of funny they call her the bitch queen in here. Chaotic Evil, Lesser Portfolio of the Abyss. Ocean's Waves, Sea Wind there. In D&D, for some reason, they decided that sea gods were evil. Like Poseidon is also evil. Now, I mean, yeah. But in many tellings of Greek mythology, Poseidon is the main god of Greek mythology, not Zeus. Now, how can I put it? In those days, the mythologies weren't the same as like we like to classify everything out. It's this way, but it wasn't. Like it's over here and over here is this way and over here is this way. So many of the traditions, Poseidon, because they're in the Mediterranean. These are people who are shipping, and the reason why a god like that is chaotic and evil is because the storms were your master, but the storms were good. The water was good. You understand? It was good. So that. But it was bad, right? You know, we have sharks, we have the terror, we have the monsters, we have the lore, the sea, the krakens, and so forth, right? But you also have the fish, the shrimps, the lobsters, the bounty, the living you make for your family from the sea. So it tells an uneven story when gods like that. Umberly, of course, is completely playable, just like follower Poseidon in a Greek campaign, completely playable. I don't think that the followers would even be evil. They're probably mostly good aligned individuals that are, or neutral aligned individuals that are out there as fishermen, as sea captains, as you know, maybe a pirate or whatever it is, right? And I think she's an alignment, neutral goddess, like whatever alignment, it was fine. A lot of people would just be praying to her, hey, please let the ship come back. Please let there be a good catch. We need it. We're starving. We need it for the winter. We need it for whatever. Please, you know, bring our fathers and our husbands home, right? You know, the followers of Poseidon, take the bull out into the shallows, just slit the throat, just slit it, just let the blood mingle into the water, and the sacrifice be done unto Poseidon, to Neptune, unto Umberly. So I think I've done a lot of Umberly games. I've never had anyone play a follower of Umberly. In non-nautical games, people often don't like to play nautical divinities, so I've never had anyone ask to worship Umberly. I think it's completely fine though. Alright, so now we're going to get to the Dead 3. And you knew, by God, you knew this was coming. So, we have Bane, the Black Lord. I think Bane is one of these three, actually, I think Bane is by far the most unplayable NPC stamped of them. Bane's a god of tyranny. Bane does not have a lot of traits that are super redeemable. Bane is a great bad guy. I love Bane as a strong bad guy. But the greater power of Archeron, lawful evil, portfolio, strife, hatred, tyranny. Those aren't really good things. And they're certainly not things you can go, okay, well, you know, with Talos, we're beating ass for heavy metal. You know, but with Bane, you know, Bane's in a keep. The fucking dicks of the world. Bane is tyranny, right? Bane is order. And that's really the only way you can push it over. It's just order. Order must be preserved and maintained and taken and strangled out, because without order we are nothing. Without order we can have nothing. Without order we are bitch ass. So I think Bane is, again, probably like a 9.5 on the unplayable scale. I think eventually you're going to have serious problems. If someone actually plays a follower of Bane, they're going to make problems, and the party probably needs to deal with them. They're bad guys. They're not sympathetic. You know, you're just not really someone that people are going to be wanting to get behind. You're the bad guy. So, you know, it is what it is, and I think Bane probably is essentially unplayable. I do think Bane is great as an antagonistic force. Followers of Bane, Temples of Bane, love them for those things. Have used them quite a few times. The next is Baal, the Lord of Murder, Lesser Power of Gehenna, Lawful Evil, Portfolio Death. I think that Baal is a more playable god of the Forgotten Realms. I think the Baal spawn, which and this time I don't think they had created that idea yet. They're definitely in the computer game Baldur's Gate 2, not on the PlayStation 1, I don't think. They're in one of these books. They have the Baal spawn mentioned in there as well. So these are the children of Baal, and they're from like all different types of races and so forth. And you could play one of them, which could be very entertaining. Could be very very interesting thing there. I have played one time. It is Baal. I think is playable, but only with the right player. Just like playing like when someone playing assassin in a game is, you could potentially destroy your whole game by letting someone do that. But if you let the right one do it, it could be. Pure followers of Baal, probably a 9 out of 10. So they're close to not playable, but they're really the cult of murderers. But the drive, you can have them fight against Sirak. You could have them fight against followers of Mask. You're trying to reclaim the dignity. You're a nearly done or broken religion, and you're trying to come back. And maybe you can even shimmer in some spots of good here and there, where they're doing things to try to fight against this other darkness. And I think with a lot of creativity and the right player, follower of Baal could be fine in most games. It's probably a really bad idea. Now let's talk about my man, if you will, baby. Save the best for last, if you will. Lord of Bones, baby. Merkel. So Merkel, Lord of Bones, greater power of Hades, neutral evil, portfolio of the dead, decay, corruption, dusk. I do not in any way endorse anything about crowns or things flying around. Fuck all that bullshit. Just go out and get yourself some whiteout and just start fucking using it on your book, because there's some whack ass shit in these Forgotten Realms books. There's some people that probably just need to have the bob back on atomic drop put on them for their lack of contributions. Yet the paycheck, they're stealing money, baby, stealing money, if you will. So you can't respect that, nor should you. Nor would I expect you to. I would expect you to give them the atomic drop and cover them for 3. Don't waste a good move on them. Just the atomic, it's enough. The atomic drop's enough. They won't kick out, guaranteed. So Merkel is a wonderful god of all the evil ones. Definitely the most playable. My son is playing in the 3.5 game or in the last one, and they're in the same town. They've come into it, so I'm letting them play both their characters. Right, the people that had played in the last game could play both their characters. So those characters are getting to be introduced, and they've been there for a few game sessions now, and maybe a few more. So they're going to play both characters. Right, he is a hobbit of the new church of Merkel. We were in the year 1375, and the DR, the Day of Reckoning calendar. So, and we're actually Hammer's just in a few days, really. So we're almost 1376. So we're seeing the followers of Merkel in this game. This religion is doing what? It's coming up. You see, it's coming up. So a new religions come and take place, and I really like to go over the dusk. I like to have this sensation of dying, of this divinity here, and I have dialed back the probably more, I guess, what we call the evilness, right? Because you don't really have all that undead, right? All that stuff is Velsharoon now. So you have, and first Velsharoon's not even in this book, but Velsharoon's another one, probably on the borderline of not being playable. But with Merkel, you could have them fighting against. You're put in a position of being an incredible underdog. You have Sirak trying to steal everything you have, your followers, your church, your magic. Velsharoon doing the same thing. Maybe even Mishra, and I think Mishra is a great villain. I think Mishra makes one of the best villains. So that may be another video. If you guys like this one, ask me if you want to hear me talking about good gods that make great antagonists, because I have gotten so much mileage out of Mishra. It's basically a bad guy. And you don't have to be evil to be the bad guy. Your followers can just be pricks and infuriate a party with things that are perfectly in bounds for a neutral, or maybe even sometimes a good aligned character, to infuriate the player characters and make them, we're going to get them. And then right when they're Oh, they got away because I can teleport because I'm a follower of Mishra. And sometimes they don't necessarily even know that the players are mad at them because they don't care enough to have employed any of their devices to figure this out. And this continues to infuriate the players. I had the players come up with them. Well, you did this. Who are you? With clear, they have no fucking idea because they just didn't care at all about the interaction. You know, just like the players are like the fucking delivery man who the Richie lawyer didn't even fucking acknowledge or even look at or have any idea. And you've been stewing and stewing and stewing. How much more angry you get when they don't even recognize you when you're coming to get the showdown, right? And that's called heat. And you build the heat. When you can get that heat hot, boy, you will not have a motherfucker come like, yeah, both my parents died and I have leprosy now, but fuck the bullshit. I ain't missing this game, goddammit. I'm here. My kids might be about to starve to death, but fuck them. I got to be here to play this motherfucking game. That's when you know you got the heat. All right, well, that has been your tour with your main man through the deities of evil on the Forgotten Realms. Talos be praised. And also, Maglubiet.